Can you imagine fighting for a decade against a court order that never even existed? Well, today we're diving into the incredible story of one man's fight against a bureaucratic machine that just went on autopilot and completely upended his life, all based on a piece of paper that was basically fiction. This one is, well, it's pretty wild. To really wrap our heads around just how absurd this whole situation got, we have to start with a very, very strange question. It's a question that became the perfect metaphor for this entire maddening ordeal. If you've ever seen the movie Christmas Vacation, you know this line. It's from the wonderfully out of it Aunt Bethany. It's so completely disconnected from anything happening in reality that it became the perfect and honestly infuriating way to describe the author's 10-year nightmare. So this is what he calls the Rusty experience. And it's not just about being frustrated. It's this deep, disorienting kind of gaslighting. You know, you have the proof, the cold, hard, documented facts in your hand, and the system just stares back at you and completely denies your reality. And this Rusty experience, it wasn't just some abstract feeling. Oh no, it had devastating, real-world consequences, all of it flowing from that one phantom order. Let's just break down the damage by the numbers. $173,000. Get this, that's the staggering amount the state collected from him in what he alleges were unlawful seizures and overpayments. I mean, that's a life-changing sum of money, just gone. 527. That's how many days, documented days, the author was homeless. This wasn't just some financial problem. This was the complete and utter collapse of his life. 3. That's the number of times his driver's license got suspended because of all this. Think about that. It effectively trapped him. How are you supposed to find work to get back on your feet when the system itself makes it impossible for you to even drive? And this just hits you right in the gut. These are the author's own words, describing what rock bottom looked like. A rented moving truck became the only shelter for him, his son, and his dog. It's heartbreaking. So, what on earth was all of this based on? What was the piece of paper that caused a decade of absolute chaos? Well, it all boils down to a single phantom court document from 2015. Okay, so take a look at the court record from that day. It is a complete and total mess. You've got 4 totally different, contradictory things happening on the same case. There's a court note with one number, a private agreement with another, the actual signed divorce decree specifies $0, and then you have the final official entry from the court itself. And right there, that is the smoking gun. This isn't someone's opinion or interpretation. This is a judicial admission. The court, in its own record, for its own record, literally said it could not create an order. It admitted it didn't have the legal authority to do the very thing it then spent the next 10 years enforcing. Unbelievable. So you have to be wondering, right? How does an error this big, a mistake the court itself documented, spiral so far out of control for an entire decade? Well, the simple answer is the system was on autopilot. The author hands them a legal waiver from the children's mother to stop everything. They ignored it. The system illegally took thousands of dollars while his own child is in state-funded care. That's a violation of federal law. All while 2 states just kept pointing fingers at each other. And this quote from a Colorado official, it says everything you need to know. There was absolutely zero accountability. This wasn't about justice. It wasn't about correcting a massive error. It was just a machine designed to do one thing, collect money. And fixing mistakes, that just wasn't part of the program. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do when arguing the law doesn't work? When the system itself refuses to listen? You have to change the game. You stop talking to the judge, and you go ask someone else a much, much simpler question. And this was the light bulb moment. He realized that a judge's job is interpretive. They use discretion. They can deny your motions, which they did over and over again. But a court clerk, their job is different. It's ministerial. They don't interpret the law. Their job is simply to produce the official record when you ask for it. No opinions, just here's the file. And that brilliant realization led to what he calls the legal Rusty maneuver. It was such a clever move. He filed a simple administrative request with the clerk. He wasn't arguing anymore. He just asked, "Hey, can you please give me a copy of the legal, valid, enforceable order from 2015? This forced the system's own record keeper to go look for a document they were legally required to produce, a document they both knew did not exist.
When you really get down to it, this whole decade-long nightmare, it was about so much more than money or a clerical error. It was a fight for his own sanity.
I mean, can you imagine the psychological toll when you're holding the documented truth in your hands, but every single person in authority tells you you're wrong? You'd start to question your own mind, right? It actually got so bad that he needed professional help just to stay grounded in the reality he knew was true. And that's really the big takeaway here. The story is so much bigger than one person's terrible ordeal. It puts the entire system on trial. It raises these huge questions about accountability and whether the institutions we're all supposed to trust are even paying attention to their own records. And that leaves us with this one final, really chilling question. If the court record is supposed to be the absolute truth, what does it mean when the system designed to uphold that truth can't even be bothered to read its own story? And how many other lives are being quietly ruined by machines left running on autopilot?